Hello and welcome back. Just a couple of minutes to go now before the whistle. So the plan for today is I shall put a pot of hemp and caster out at 11 metres, and then I shall put the pole away for a sec, put out 6 feederfuls on the tip line, bring that in, leave it, and then go out on the pole and see what's about. If you like these videos and you'd like to subscribe, that would be great. What a gorgeous day today after all that rain we've had. I don't think it'll fish easy today because we've had 3 days of pretty much consistent rain all day and most of the night. The sun will certainly, there's a nice carp then jumped out of the water. The sun will certainly help it because it's very shallow. I've only got 30 inches at 11 metres and probably the tip's probably only in about 4 foot, 5 foot at the most, I would think. I think there's a little riverbed runs through the middle of this because it's got an in and an out, so that's probably the deepest water. But I should think it'll warm up quite quickly today, the top level anyway. And I'm hoping that the roach and skimmers come over the pole line strong, and I can sit on those because it's really difficult this time of year trying to adjust your tackle in case you get a carp in amongst your silverfish. I mean, they count today, the carp, so I mean, if we hook one, we'll have to do our level best to try and get it in. But as I say, it's very tricky. It's easy in the summer because you just fish meat on a 14 elastic and a 12 hook, and it's all good. But I've got a little bit of micro pellet in there, and I'm just going to put in some hemp and caster. There's the whistle. So we'll pop this out. It's half a pot full there, hemp, caster, and a few softened micro pellet. So we'll get that out, and then we can concentrate on the feeder, putting the grub out for that. I'm lining up with that building on the corner there, and I'm going to tip it out over a little bit of an area. I don't want it all in one spot because I'm going to loose feed over the top of the catapult. That's the only pot I'm going to put in there today, and that's just basically to give them something to find while we do the tip. Put that in there. What I've done is I've chopped some worms, as you can see, and I shall be putting them through the feeder in a second. I'm going to do 2 with worm, 2 with caster, and 2 just straight ground bait. All I've got on the end is the cage feeder. The ground bait mix is dry because I don't want it to hang about. I want it to explode into the water, so I've put a little bit of worm in there in the middle. So there's the feeder ready to go with the worm in the middle. I'm clipped up, and I'm going to be aiming more or less straight at 12 o'clock. Nothing cute. Just let it get down a little bit and then fire it out. Get rid of the bait. Do that 6 times. Again, I'll put a pinch of chopped worm in the ground bait to start with, and then just pinch it either side of it with the ground bait to hold it in. You can actually see the worm in the ground bait. Just let it get down a little bit. Fire it out. This time I'm going to go over with a bit of caster in the ground bait, so we'll pinch a few casters out, put them in there. Perhaps I'll go with 4 rather than 6, just to start the ball. Another pincher caster. Again, you can see the caster in the actual feeder. That's it, right. Seagull straight onto it. Nothing there for you, mate. Right, so we can leave that now. That's that job done. Just put the lid back on the worms, they're not keen on the heat of the day. Got me very small light catapult today, which should just be able to get me the 10 or 11 metres that I need. Go out on the black tip float to start with, because this sun's a bit of a pain. But after the last few days, I'm not going to moan about it, because it's glorious compared to what we had. Just wet on plastic. I'll go out on double red maggot to start with. Probably get small fish, but we'll give it a go. Got a reasonable hook on. I've got a 16 hook on, because again the carp, there's always a possibility of a carp, so we have to bear that in mind. Got the bulk set in the last foot to start with. They'll probably come up in the water, I would imagine, but we'll start. It's a good starting spot. As you can see, the black tip float is quite easy to see in this glare. I've got the other one set with a red tip, should the conditions change. I'll start loose feeding after 5 minutes or so. Just let this see what goes on, because there's a bit of bait now on the bottom. And then at half-hour mark, depending on how good or bad the pole's been, I'll go out on the feeder. Be a smaller cage feeder and a worm maggot on the hook. I might try banded caster on the float today. Never tried it before, but my friend Peter, who you've seen on previous videos, showed me how to do it, and it's very deadly, he says, and I'm sure he's right. You actually can catch more than one fish on the same caster, because they don't burst it, because it's in the little band. Give the float a little lift, half out. That's fishing dead depth, this one. Fishing for 5 hours, so we're fishing 10 till 3. I would think a winning weight of about 30 pounds. Depends how many carp are caught, but I would have thought 30 pounds would be a reasonable weight today. I've had 20, 25 pound of roach here in the past, just roach, when I fished the hemp and elderberry, but obviously the elderberries are finished now, so I couldn't do that. But I think today you're going to need a couple of the better bream and a couple of carp if you can. we'll take it easy. That was a little bite. We'll take it gently because it's definitely going to be colder the water after all that rain that's gone in. First fish of the day, a little roach. That's okay. Pop him in the silverfish net. Try red and white this time. You can see how if you set your elastic not too tight, I mean this is an 810 in here and yet we didn't bump the little silverfish, so we should be alright for the skimmers. And if a carp comes along, as long as we're gentle and take our time, we should get him in as well. I'll start loose feeding after this cast. Just flicking a few 10 or 12 casters out there and a few grains of hemp. So the roach in here go to well over 2 pounds. They're beautiful fish. The bream go to about 5 pounds. Carp run into high doubles. Some big tension here, but very rare. Plenty of bird life. Grebes and all sorts of bits and bobs ducking and diving about. A little tiny bite then that come to nothing. We just lift the float out, half a float, drop it back again. That went straight away. Whatever it was saw that moving and thought I'll have that. A tiny little bite then. Cool. They are delicate this morning. Just lift and drop half a float out. Start putting a little bit of loose feed over the top now, I think. Not too much, just a few caster in the pouch. Lift and drop. That sun is very warm, it's great. I put extra clothing on today thinking it was going to be pretty cold, and coming up in the motorway was quite foggy, so I thought, ooh, definitely going to be a lot cooler today, but it's turned out to be a lovely day.